Hey everyone, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar, here today with a fun short video. Yesterday I tried to make a video for 12 hours, it didn't turn out, sometimes that happens, and I was really frustrated, but then I got a message from one of my subscribers, Adam, who said, hey, Ace Frehley just put out a new song, you might want to check it out. So I listened to it today for about an hour, I learned some of the parts, and I thought I would just give you my first 10 quick impressions of it. So nothing too serious, if I listen to it more, it might grow on me, but there's some things that I really liked about it, other things I didn't care for as much, but let's get into it. So right off the bat, he starts off the song by just hitting this big D chord with a flanger effect on it. Now here's kind of a weird thing, I'm 2 down half a step like a lot of old Kiss songs were, and I'm playing at the 10th fret, so it's technically D flat. I think he's tuned down a whole step and playing up at the 11th fret, just from what the video looks like, so that might be the case. Then there's this awesome drum fill and the band kicks in. And there's this really cool riff, but what I noticed right away is just the overall production of everything was so high quality. But that's not necessarily a great thing in my book. Like, the drums are real snappy, they kind of have that triggered sound like a lot of new drums that are mixed these days have. And I just kept thinking, this is a little too slick for an Ace Frehley mix. It's one of those things where I like my Ace Frehley songs greasy, but not slick, if that makes any sense. It's kind of a paradox, but. So it took me a while to get used to the production value of an Ace Frehley song being so modern sounding, if you will. I grew up on old school Kiss, so that's kind of what I'm used to. And even if you listen to Psycho Circus that Into the Void song is on, you'll hear that the drums sound much more realistic, like you're in a room or something with them, instead of them being overly mixed. I really dug the opening riff. It's heavy, and it actually reminded me of a Soundgarden riff. I kept thinking, where have I heard this before? So it sounds like this. So that part of it, I thought, what does that sound like to me? And then I realized it's My Wave by Soundgarden just in 4/4. So it's just a similarity that my brain associated. My brain does that all the time with everything that I hear. It drives me a little bit crazy sometimes. Now that being said, Ace always adds his special Ace sauce. I guess you could call it, that sounds bad. But he throws this in and suddenly it becomes an Ace tune. That's what I believe the other guitar player is doing. Ace is always up here around the 11th fret, so he might be going like this. I'm not really sure, but it's close. Isn't that great how one little tag at the end of the riff could really make it personalized to a certain artist? So Ace is always great at doing that sort of thing. Once again, like the song Into the Void has this sound. It's just got such an Ace vibe to it. Now, as I said earlier, I've only listened to the song for about an hour, so I might be off here and there on a few details, but I really love the way that intro octave solo sounds. I'm not sure if he's using like a pedal effect or if he's actually overdubbing another guitar, but it sounds something like this. It comes out of nowhere and it contains some classic Ace Frehley moves, which we're going to talk about later. By the way, I grew up saying Ace Frehley, but everybody's been correcting me my whole life, so now I say Frehley, but sometimes I go back and forth, just so you know. Now, breaking down the lyrics is kind of fun for this tune because, it's just classic Ace once again. It's not super poetic or anything like that. He kind of just goes right to the point. So I believe he says something like, feels like 10,000 volts when I see your face. 10,000 volts, I felt like I was in space. I'm paraphrasing here. But go back and read all of Ace Frehley's lyrics back in the day, and you'll kind of get the same vibe. Oh, and he also says, no need to fret somewhere in the song. No need to fret. And I always find that funny when a guitar player says that phrase. It's almost like a guitar player dad joke in a way. The next thing I notice is that the video is filmed like a lot of videos seem to be filmed these days. I shouldn't say filmed, I guess, because nothing's really on film anymore, but recorded on video. They all seem to do kind of the same thing now, where you stand in a room with cool lights and you just play through the song a bunch of times. and you take different cuts from each take, and then you put it all together, and bam, there's your video. It seems like a real economical way to do a video these days. You know, I really can't picture any band these days putting out videos like back in the day, like November Rain's a good example. It's like they filmed a movie basically and then intertwined the band with it. So yeah, those days I think are over. I wish I would see more videos like that, but I just don't think it makes sense for bands to do that anymore. I'm not too familiar with the members in his band, but for some reason the bass player looked like he was like an actor on a TV show playing a bass player. Just the way he's dressed up and the way he's moving, you know, on the microphone and stuff like that, it just gives it sort of this weird Lizzie McGuire band kind of vibe. Don't hate me for saying that. You look real cool, but it just has that kind of feeling when I saw it for the first time. The eighth impression that I got from watching this video and hearing the song for the first time is that I did not waste my time practicing all the patterns and motifs, sometimes I call them patterns, sometimes motifs, when it came to Ace Frehley's playing. I do my techniques videos and I like to break things down. I have a video called Ace Frehley's 17 Greatest Guitar Techniques, I think. And in it, I think he used about 8 of the techniques that I show. So the first motif he does is this one. You know, that's a classic Kiss one. A lot of these come from actually Kiss Alive. If you listen to even the first tune, Deuce, you'll hear a ton of these licks. So he comes out of that. And then he just goes back and forth. Once again, kind of paraphrasing. That's funny. And then another totally Ace move right here. The 1.5 bend. And I think this part may have been cut in Pro Tools because suddenly he goes from here and he jumps somehow to here. So that's just my guess. I'll be really curious to see how he does this live, but he's going. It's a really awkward jump that you have to make. So that tells me he either cut it in Pro Tools or he just did it here like this. But to me, it sounds like he's doing a double pull-off, so I think it's the Pro Tools route. Here's some more patterns. So you can just sit there and go. And then he does another thing that I cover in my video, which I call the staccato walkdowns. He goes into triplet mode, and each note is very staccato. And ends with a bend like that. So do you see how the solo is really just like 4 or 5 motifs glued together in a musical way? So, you know, you can get away with that when you have classic licks that sound like your own thing. You know, all those acisms. I guess you probably wouldn't want to use that word, acisms. That'd be a bad name for an album these days. What's your new album called, Ace? Acism. Yikes. And I was kind of holding my breath for the ultimate technique that seems to be in every techniques video that I do, the unison bend. I didn't think he was going to do it, but all of a sudden you hear him do this. So it does make an appearance, and towards the end of the song, he does it some more as well. That's where you bend up to a note and you play the note that you're bending to on the next string. It's got such a great sound. The 9th impression that I got was towards the end of the song, he started to solo again, but I noticed a lot of the licks were the same as what was in the normal solo. So I have a funny feeling some more Pro Tools stuff was used where they just took him jamming and they took parts of his solos and just kind of glued them together to form the end solo. I could be wrong. And the 10th thing that I observed about this song was that it actually fades out at the end, at least in the video. And I thought that's a really cool throwback to the old days. Every song back in the day faded out. I shouldn't say everyone, but most of them did. And the funny part is during a fade out, if you listen to a lot of old songs, you'll hear the band just kind of free up, like they were just jamming and all of a sudden the guitar's doing these sweet licks and you're like, damn, I wish that was louder, but they're fading it out as it goes down. So go back in the old archives and pull out some old songs and listen to the fade outs. You're going to hear some interesting stuff if you turn it up really loud. Just be careful though, because that next song can come in and blow your ears out. So one thing that he didn't do in this song that I wish he would have, it's a total Ace move, is the old toggle switch trick. So I was waiting for this. But no such luck. Maybe the next release will have it though. So I would call this a short, sweet, catchy song by Ace. You know, it didn't blow my socks off like Into the Void did. Sorry, I keep talking about that song, but I love it. Or a song like Wiped Out is one of my favorite Ace songs as well. I've got a ton of them, but I just wanted to mention a few. I love it when the beat kicks in during that riff. And like I say about a lot of my favorite artists growing up, I'm just happy they're still making music. It's pretty miraculous that it's 2023, almost 2024, and we're getting some new Ace Frehley songs. FREHLEY. Just as Kiss is coming to a close, I have my theories about that. I'm wondering if, Ace isn't playing with them for their last shows. I think they already had their last show, but I wonder if they have plans for like this gigantic reunion. Kiss always has something up their sleeve. Wouldn't that be wild to see the original 4 members for one last official final show? I think I would fly anywhere in the world to see that, just because I feel almost obligated to. I wouldn't be here right now sitting with this guitar playing for you guys if it wasn't for Kiss or Metallica, for that matter. I dug the song, even though the production value was a little too slick, like I said, from my taste. But I would have to give this maybe a 6.5 out of 10. And looking forward to hearing more songs off of this album. So I think he's coming out with a full album. Okay, everyone, this feels like such a relief to me compared to yesterday working 12 hours for nothing. This video just came out real easily. It's always a good sign, I think, when it's just a natural feeling when I put out a video. So thank you for watching it, and we'll catch you at the next one. Okay, bye-bye.